Hey guys, and welcome to today's video. So recently I picked up a new set of AirPods Pro, and in this video I'm going to be covering off whether or not I think they're worthwhile picking up, especially with the time of year that it currently is, and that's more from the perspective of somebody who had some original AirPods. So if you're one of the people out there who's got a set of original AirPods and you've been asking yourself the question of whether or not it's worth taking the plunge to get some AirPods Pro, then make sure you watch this video. So let's get cracking, shall we? So first up, I'm going to start off by saying that it might not be the best time of year to pick up a new set of AirPods, and that's for a couple of reasons. First one is apparently the AirPods Generation 3 are meant to be getting announced at some point in September, but we will wait and see. And the AirPods Pro are meant to be getting replaced at some point early 2022. Now again, this is the whole thing with tech. If you need something now and you want it and you can afford it, then you know what, it's always worth taking the plunge. There's a smarter time to buy, of course, but if your AirPods, like mine, have stopped working, then you know what, it's always worthwhile looking for an alternative. However, if you've got a good set of these at the moment and they're doing the job, it might be worthwhile hanging fire just a little bit. But let's get on with my kind of thoughts on this and maybe some of the reasons why it is worthwhile upgrading, some of the reasons why maybe not. Now, in comparison to the original AirPods, I didn't really expect much. My experience with the Generation 1 AirPods has been that they've been pretty average in terms of the sound quality, but for convenience, they have been absolutely fantastic. This little charging case is nice, small, compact, and pairing up with my other devices has always been fantastic and just worked so incredibly well. The one downside I will say about AirPods, and this is going to carry over to the AirPods Pro as well, is that they are ultimately going to become some kind of disposable item. The battery in these is the reason why I've ended up upgrading. I wasn't too bothered about the sound quality or anything like that. However, they've only lasted me now. My right AirPod lasts me about 20 to 30 minutes on a full charge. My left AirPod lasts me about 2 to 3 minutes. So ultimately they kind of have become pretty useless. Now bear in mind that is over the series of what, like 3 to 4 years, so they have lasted a decent amount of time, but ultimately are going to become e-waste, and I hate that. There are services out there that can kind of swap them out. PodSwap is one of those in the US, but over in the UK there isn't really anything. So just bear that in mind. If you are environmentally conscious and you don't want your AirPods to end up in landfill, well, there's kind of no avoiding it, unfortunately, with these. Now, getting on to the main differences between the AirPods and the AirPods Pro. The first one is the case size. So they are slightly longer, although it wasn't too much of a difference. These are still very pocketable, and I'm one of those weird people who put these into that little kind of jeans pocket that I have no idea. It must have been made for AirPods in my opinion, because these still fit perfectly. It's still relatively lightweight, compact, and fits nicely, so I have no complaints there. They're also capable of wireless charging, and on some of the previous AirPods you could get the case, but it comes included with these as default, which is just a nice little addition. And for charging up, if you're not going wireless, it has the lightning connector down at the bottom there. So again, if you're one of those people who has multiple different types of charger because Apple refuses to go all in on USB Type-C, just bear that in mind. In terms of design, it still pops open in the exact same way, and it's just nice and easy and convenient to work. They're very small, lightweight little pods, and the thing that I was worried about with these was the design of them. So they have these sort of like silicone tips on the end of it versus something like the original AirPods that were just plastic. And I've always found the original AirPods never fell out of my ears. They are literally the perfect fit and I love them. So I did have my doubts about these because they seemed more like a traditional type of headphone, obviously with this little silicone tip that goes in. I've got to say, I love them. They fit just as well, if not better, than my original AirPods. They never come out. The seal on them is fantastic, and I've really, really enjoyed them so far. So in terms of the actual fit and finish of them, they are as good, if not better, than my original set of AirPods. So hats off to Apple for that. Now let's talk about the sound quality of these. And like I said, my original AirPods were always just distinctly average. There was nothing amazing about them and I never really expected them to be, but it was the convenience of them that always made me go back to using my AirPods. These sound like a pretty good set of headphones. So I have some Sennheiser headphones, the over-ear ones, and these replicate that sound a lot. One thing I noticed when I'd gone out for a few walks and everything, they always felt like, I guess, a mid-range set of over-ear headphones. That probably sounds a little bit mad, but the sound quality on this is a lot better than what I was getting on my original AirPods. And you would expect it because obviously they are meant to be the more premium and the pro versions, but I was pretty surprised by how good these sounded. When you use something like spatial audio combined with these, things sound really good, and I've been very impressed with these so far. The standout to me was when I was watching The Witcher on Netflix, and just the audio quality sounded so incredibly good. I don't normally watch my films or anything like that using headphones, but it made me kind of want to watch a few more different TV shows and films using my AirPods, because these things sound incredible, especially with that spatial audio that is now mixed in with Netflix. So it's definitely worthwhile trying that out. So sound quality is a lot better than the original AirPods. So if you were always disappointed by these, you'll probably be pretty impressed by these. They're not going to blow anybody away, and if you're an audiophile, they're probably not going to be the type of headphones for you, but they sound really good, and I've been very impressed with them so far. Moving on to the different modes that you've got with these. So it has a transparency mode, a standard mode, and also a noise cancelling mode. I'll talk quickly about the noise cancelling. It's pretty good. To be fair, it blocks out a lot of that background noise if I'm doing some housework, if I'm pottering around in the kitchen, if my kids are screaming and stuff like that. You know what? They are really good. They're not the best in the world. My over-ear headphones do a lot better job than these do, but they do a really good job, to be fair, especially for the size of them. There's been a few times when my son's been talking to me and nattering away and I have no idea what I say. I can see his mouth moving, but I can't hear his voice, and it just takes me back to a place where it's nice, peaceful and quiet. So they're pretty good in that respect. The transparency mode is the one I enjoy the most, and that's for a number of reasons. And the first one is that when I'm home, a lot of the time I'll be getting deliveries, one of my children might start crying because they've done something stupid, and if I have these on with active noise cancelling or just even in the standard mode, I just wouldn't necessarily be able to hear those things happening if the door goes or if one of my children does something. With the transparency mode, it does allow a lot of that noise to get through to my ears using the microphones on these. So if the door goes, for example, I'll hear it whilst also listening to an audiobook, or if I'm listening to some music. If one of my children does something, I will hear that. If they start talking to me, I can hear what they're saying whilst also listening to music or that audiobook or watching something on YouTube. So I really like the transparency mode. If you're the kind of person who likes to sing along with your music as well, you can hear your voice, which, I mean, that might be a bad thing, might be a good thing. But I guess it means that anybody else who hears you, at least you'll be slightly more in tune with what you're singing along to. So I really like that feature. Transparency mode for me is one of the best things about these. I wasn't too bothered about the audio quality because I was always okay with that. I wasn't too bothered about the other features of it, but that transparency mode absolutely seals it for me. Battery life is pretty fantastic. I haven't had to charge these since I've got them, so I got them, charged them up for the first time. I've had these now for about a month, and I don't use them too much, but I haven't found myself running out of battery. And again, it's because they have that battery built into the case. So you take one of the AirPods out, put them in here, charges it back up, and you're ready to go. For audiobooks, that is one of my favorite features, because I'll normally take one pod out, pop it into my ear. See, once that starts running down on battery, I can literally take it out again and then pop the left one in as well. So you know what, in terms of that, you kind of have almost like infinite battery, because you can then go charge this up and stuff like that. So I love that about the AirPods. Convenience wise, I found these are a lot more reliable in terms of my original AirPods. So pairing up between my iPad or my MacBook or my iPhone, with these it was always a bit hit and miss. I found that it worked about 50% of the time that it would switch over to a different device. This 100% of the time, whenever I open them up or go to use them and I'm using something like my MacBook or if I'm using something like my iPad, it finds them and it detects them straight away, which is really good. So that's something that seems to have either been improved on this or just got worse on these over time. Not too sure which one it is, but so far the AirPods Pro, in terms of the convenience and connectivity, is a lot better than what I was experiencing with my original AirPods. So again, if you are somebody who's struggling with these and they're not connecting as they should be, then maybe it's time to upgrade to some AirPods Pro in that respect. So to sum up, what are my thoughts on these after a month? I've got to say I absolutely love them. It's probably not the best time to upgrade to them, like I said at the beginning of the video, but if you do have a need of something like AirPods and you are tied into that Apple ecosystem, because if you're not, there are other headphones out there that might be better for your budget and might just be a better value proposition. But if you are in that Apple ecosystem and you need something like this, they are absolutely fantastic. I've been really impressed with the sound quality and just those additional features like the transparency mode and even the noise cancelling when you want some peace. These do a damned good job, and they are exceeding my expectations in pretty much every single category. The thing that I dislike about them the most is the fact that eventually these are going to become e-waste. However, bear in mind that these lasted for about 3 to 4 years, so it's not that big of a deal, and hopefully a service like PodSwap will come over to the UK so we don't have to worry about these just getting wasted. The other thing that I dislike about them, and I've not experienced it yet, but These were a lot better when it came to connectivity when I first got them. However, by the end of their lifespan, they were just pretty unreliable when it came to connecting to different devices. I don't know if that's just because of the age of them or if they've just always been, I guess, not as good as I originally remembered, but I'm hoping that doesn't happen again with these, but I guess time will tell. But all in all, if you are in the market for a decent set of AirPods, if you're wanting to potentially upgrade from your old AirPods because they've just seen the end of their life, then I would say that these are worthwhile going for. Yes, there are probably new ones on the horizon, but that is always the case for tech. So you know what, you make your buying decision. I think they are fantastic and I'm glad that I picked them up. And you can normally pick these up on sale for about £180 to £190 on Amazon, and the same again in the US as well. So even if new ones do come out, they're probably going to be retailing for the full price of like $250 to $300 or pounds. So these are a pretty good price for what you're going to get at the moment, and they just do a really good job. So if you've got any questions, throw them down in the comments below. If you've already got some AirPods Pro, let me know if you've had them for a while. Have they lost any connectivity? Have they just started running out of battery or anything like that? Because I'd always be interested in knowing how your long-term experience has basically fared compared to my original AirPods. In the meantime, hit that like button because it just helps the channel to grow and it gets YouTube showing this off to a few more people. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe so you catch some more awesome content in the future. Stay safe and we will see you soon. Bye.